Lately, I've been very sick and I've been thinking a lot about silence. Silence can do a lot of work in this really frenetic culture. We don't get a lot of space. We don't get a lot of space internally, certainly not mentally. We're constantly scrolling. Many of us live in cities. We don't have a lot of physical space. We're crammed on subways. We're stuck in traffic jams. And silence is this wonderful place where we can really just be. I'm also reminded one of my favorite French directors, Robert Bresson. He was very influential with the French New Wave. There's much to say about him, but he was very wise. And his films are like nothing else. His films are filled with silence. And what he often said was that poetry happens between the cuts. And we learn this also in writing. So much of the story happens in the silences, in the spaces between words, between sentences and paragraphs and chapters, in the silence before the book, and the silence that occurs after the book has ended, or the poem has ended, or the screenplay has ended. So silence is very, very powerful medicine. When studying the Old Testament with Elie Wiesel, he also emphasized the silence. And it was in those spaces that God was. And so, as much as it's important to be conscious of the language we use and the words that we choose, it's important to hear and be with the silence and let it live in us, because that's what keeps us connected to the great silence. And it's a wonderful space to do our work.